Hey everybody, Tony here, and welcome to another video. Yeah, this is another E3 video, and this is gonna be part 2. Yesterday we covered Microsoft's conference. We already know how much of a shithole that was. But today we're gonna be talking about the main part of the E3 I was looking forward to, and that is the Sony Conference. And joining me today is
Doctor Morbis.
Hello, Doctor Morbis, and yeah, talk about Sony here. I can't believe I'm saying this, but even Sony was disappointing this year. I mean, I've had high hopes. They were a little bit better than a Microsoft, but they were 10 times. But they were just as disappointing as well. They're a little bit better than Microsoft. They're still disappointing. And Dr. Morbis, what do you guys say about this?
The show could have had some better pacing issues, because after they showed The Last of Us Part 2 stuff, they went on like a 20-minute hiatus, like just shooting the shit with some guy, and then they resumed. It's like it was just slow. It just didn't really feel very quick pace like the Microsoft.
Well, I guess to them, steady and slow wins the race or something like that. But like, it started off with Gustavo Santaola, the Argentine music composer who does the music for Last of Us Part 2 and Last of Us, playing the banjo. And I kind of knew that it was the start for Last of Us, but then that 30-minute delay. I mean, the first set was in some type of church, and then all of a sudden they moved to the regular set. I think the reason they were at that church was because of Gustavo playing the banjo. I think that's why they were in the church first. But then that 30-minute delay and stuff like that, and there was no host for Sony this year. Like, there was no host at all, like no guy talking. It was just trailers and trailers and trailers, which I don't mind. But come on, I mean, like, I'm sure some of us, but come on, this could have been better paced. I mean, after that intermission, we got introduced to this new samurai game called The Ghost of Tsushima, and I say that game looks awesome. I mean, this is something new. The Microsoft did not show was something new and original, along with Control. And Resident Evil 2 Remake, which I'm not gonna get the Resident Evil 2 Remake, but for Resident Evil fans who are looking forward to it, this was a big thing. And they had this weird game called Trover Saves the Universe. It's like, I don't know, this was a weird game. And then they had Kingdom Hearts 3, which I already said my thought on Kingdom Hearts 3, Death Stranding, which we saw last year, Neo 2, the Spider-Man game, which we already know is coming out on September 7th of this year, and then it was this Dara scene that they had afterwards, and then that was it. The conference was over. It was short. I mean, I was hoping they would make up for that delay and stuff like that, but it's just Sony could have done better. Me being a Sony fan, I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, I'm not bashing Sony, because I love Sony. I love the PS1, I love the PS2, I love the PS3, and I love the PS4. But this was kind of a letdown for me. I mean, like I said, it was better than Microsoft. It's gonna get a higher rating than the Microsoft conference, but still, this could have been better. What else do you guys say?
It was slightly better, but I just wish they would have had more new stuff to show, because most of the stuff they announced last year, and like, it just, there wasn't anything spectacularly new. The only thing I could think of that blew me away was them showing the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Well, I was actually hoping they would show the Final Fantasy 7 remake. I mean, what happened with that? Why didn't they show that? I mean, yeah, but it's probably, yeah, but instead they showed Kingdom Hearts 3, which I guess I can understand. Maybe they wanted, maybe Final Fantasy 7 remake would have put Kingdom Hearts 3 in place. I guess not, but still, I mean, this probably isn't gonna be much to say here, but it's just that I feel like nobody was even trying this year for E3. This E3 was a disappointment. I mean, like, we already know how bad EA was and stuff, and we already know Square wasn't that great either from what I heard. But you think the two main conferences to me, Microsoft and Sony, could be better? I mean, but they were only slightly better. I mean, come on. Go ahead.
They played it safe. Like, both of the companies played it really safe. They didn't really do anything too major, because I think they have stuff in the oven for the next generation of consoles. I really think so, because Microsoft teased yesterday that their next console is being worked on. So,
well, yeah, but those consoles may not be released for a few more years, because if they get released next year, that's too early. I mean, stuff like that. That's too early for a new console.
Companies not time to make games for it, so I think That's why they're playing it kind of safe. So,
Well,
but still, I think they should tease something to look forward to.
I mean, it was cool that we saw more of The Last of Us Part 2, because I'm looking forward to that, because I really enjoyed the original Last of Us, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Last of Us Part 2 has to offer. But I think that this could have been a much bigger improvement. And yet, I mean, like I said, if you think back years ago, they had stuff like the PlayStation TV and like the PlayStation Now, and like talk about the slim PS4 and the PS4 Pro and stuff. I mean, they could have at least talked about that limited edition Slim PS4 that they're having, that has like the Sony icons on it, like the triangle, the square, the circle, and the X. But they could have showed something like that, but no, they didn't. And I'm not, like I said this the third time, even last time, I'm not bashing Sony, because I can understand why they're playing it safe, but just that both these conferences could have been a lot better. I mean, like, I guess, like, instead of showing a bunch of shitty third-party games, they showed like a few good games and stuff. I mean, which is a plus there. I mean, like, what was your reaction when you saw them in the church stage? Like, what was your reaction to that, Doctor Morbis?
It was very jarring, considering their usual setup. It felt strange. Like they're in a church. Like what? Like, and they have this guy playing a banjo for about 5 minutes. Like, it was very jarring.
Yeah, I mean, like, they had a couple of those skits there and stuff like that, which just like, those skits are kind of a turnoff. I mean, Microsoft has done that too, but it looks like Sony is doing those too. And I don't have anything against Gustavo Santaola, because he's a great composer and stuff. You see his work for The Last of Us and stuff, and he did a great job playing the banjo there. I mean, like, the Argentine music producer did a good job. But it's like, if I wanted to go hear him play, I go watch something, watch a streaming video of him in concert or something like that. Watch an interview of him. I mean, this stuff doesn't need to be at E3. But I guess I can see, since Naughty Dog is trying to promote Last of Us Part 2, I guess I can see that. But that intermission was the worst part. The intermission was the worst part, because this has never happened before. But I thought, and they kept saying, few more minutes, and few more minutes, and then boom, we finally get to the set, and nobody came out to talk. It was just trailers. It was pretty much what happened at G4 that one year, where they didn't show any of the skits. It was just basically just trailers and games. That was basically it. And I mean, do you got anything else to say? This is probably gonna be a short video, because there really isn't much to say. But do you got anything else to say?
Not really. It was just kind of ho-hum. They played it safe. They didn't really take any chances. They didn't really blow me away. It's just...
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling. That there's gonna be an announcement for the new consoles in probably 2019 or 2020 or so. One of like a year or two from now, we'll probably hear announcements for the next consoles. But I don't know what's gonna happen. But like, it's just
like a year before they're gonna announce like new consoles. It really feels like that way, because they didn't really show a whole bunch of new stuff.
But yeah, like, here's the thing. E3 in general sucked this year. Not just these two conferences. The entire E3 itself felt very disappointing and very rushed. I mean, I'm not gonna watch Nintendo, because I have no interest in watching the Nintendo conference. But from what I heard, EA, Microsoft, Bethesda, Square, and Sony just rushed it and played it safe. I mean, they could have at least took a couple risks, but they didn't. And that's what kills this. I'm not gonna.
My biggest surprise of E3 was Bethesda finally announcing the Elder Scrolls 6, but that's probably like 3-4 years away.
Yeah, I know. And like, it did. I mean, I'm glad we got more fun on the Spider-Man game. I'm looking forward to playing that game, and there will most likely be a review of that game on the channel. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens next E3. I'll still do E3 videos. Me and Doctor Morbis will still do E3 videos together, because it's pretty much our thing here on my channel. But on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate the Sony conference, Doctor Morbis?
Probably maybe a 7. A solid 7.
I'd probably give it a 7.5, because some of the new stuff and such. Now I know it's disappointing, but still, it was, compared to other years that I gave it higher scores, but this year, a 7.5 for me. At least they actually tried to put some effort, unlike Microsoft kept shoving Halo and Gears and Forza and a bunch of those third-party games. At least Sony didn't do that this year. But this wraps up the E3 videos. The videos will continue, and the next review will be a 2-part review, and the only hint I'm gonna give you is speed. That's the only hint I'm giving you is speed. That's all I gotta say. This is Tony and Dr. Morbis. Peace and out.